Good afternoon. This is Dr. Norma Thomas, and I'd like to welcome you to Social Work 633, Social Work Practice with Families for the Fall. This is Section 3. Just to give you a little bit of information about myself before we begin, and you can click here to get my complete bio and curriculum vitae, but I am recently retired from California University of Pennsylvania, where I directed the Masters in Social Work program for 9 years. Prior to that, I was the director of an organization that I was the CEO and created called the Center on Ethnic and Minority Aging in Philadelphia, where I was for 13 years. But for part of that time, I was also the assistant director of the Center for Social Work Education at Widener University, and at one point served as the baccalaureate program director as well, the BSW director. Prior to that, I was at the University of Pennsylvania for a couple of years where I received my doctorate. So I'm happy to be with you on this course of social work practice with families. Just to go over a few things and some of my expectations. On the first page of the course, you will see information on starting the course, which you would want to take a look at. You want to look at the syllabus, the course schedule, which we'll go over briefly. There is an Ask the Instructor forum if you have questions that you'd like posted for the whole class to see and answer those questions. But I will say this continuously, that if you need to get in touch with me, I'm pretty fast at answering emails. If you want me to call you, email me and give me your number, and I will give you a call. We'll agree on a mutual time. And communication should be pretty swift and easy in this class. So here's how you get to the syllabus. This is the course description, which you should take a moment to read. But we are going to be looking at a number of theoretical approaches for working with families. The competencies from the various core competencies that this course covers, which are competencies that are established by the Council on Social Work Education. So you want to take a look at those competencies that we are expected to achieve by the end of the class. The course objectives, there are 8 course objectives. This tells you also what we are hoping to achieve by the end of this class. The required text, one is the APA manual. So if you do not have a copy of the APA manual, 6th edition, please get a hold of a website guideline, which there are many available. Purdue OWL has a website and online guides that you can print. You can go to the American Psychological Association website and go through a tutorial, because APA is very, very important. And not that I know APA 100% by heart, but there are certain guidelines, not only in terms of references, but also citations of direct quotes that you do need to follow. There is also 2 texts, Mnuchin, Colapinto and Mnuchin, Working with Families of the Poor, and Nichols and Davis, Family Theory, Concepts and Methods, and recommended texts by also McGoldrick and Hardy, and Sue on microaggressions. Course requirements. Like any class, whether it's online or face-to-face, you need to attend class. Assignments need to be turned in on time. This is where I tell students that if you are not going to be able to turn in an assignment on time, please let me know. Better you tell me than me have to try to find you to figure out why an assignment has not been turned in. So please do that. If you want me to review a draft paper, I will be happy to do so. You just need to get it to me before the deadline that the paper is due, and I will give you feedback. Also, there are chances to do revisions on papers. So there may be times that I recommend that you do a revision prior to me doing a final grade. This talks about academic integrity, and so you know that if you're using works of another, that you have to give them proper citation, that you are doing your own work, that you are not submitting papers that have been done before, because trust me, that can be found out fairly easily with the computers being able to spot when papers have been turned in previously. So online attendance is here, submissions, and information about incomplete grades, which has to be discussed well before the time that grades go in for there to be an incomplete. The course evaluation, you can see the 30% of your grade is based on class participation in the online environment. That is through the discussion post. There is a weekly family therapy theory grid. I always have trouble with that. Family therapy theory grid, where you will be putting in a grid so that you have the comparison over the weeks, the different theories and components of those theories that refer to working with families. There is a reflection paper that's 5%. The theory grid is 15% of your grade. There is a family of origin genogram and theory paper that's 25%, and an integrative case paper and genogram that is 25%. So grading is based on content, how your paper is organized, quality of the writing, which includes grammar, and how you've been able to incorporate the readings. Please use readings from your text, assign readings in a week as part of your reference material for your papers, and of course outside material outside of what's listed on the weekly assignments can be utilized. Writing, I've already said this, that your writing is important. Social workers must learn to write well, and in many instances, all people see is what you have written. So grammar is important. Clear statements are important. Papers that include, and your discussion posts that are covering the material that's assigned for the week. And grammar, as I've said before, is also very important. APA, very important. And social work classes, we don't follow MLA or ASA. It is the guidelines of the American Psychological Association. I should say a word that sometimes students use the Microsoft Word, which supposedly will put things in the APA for you. I have news for you. It tends to not do it correctly. So please don't just rely on Microsoft Word putting your citations, your references into the correct format, because 9 times out of 10, it does not do it correctly. Class participation, I've already mentioned. Here you will see the guidelines for your discussion posts. They need to be substantive. And now you were required after your initial post to do 2 posts responding to your fellow classmates. It has been reduced to 1 other post, 1 other response, but it has to be substantive. So please read the requirements for your initial post. And if in doubt, before you do your posting, make sure you're covering everything that you're being asked to cover. Sometimes you might want to just use headings so that you can make sure that you are covering everything. This talks about your family therapy theory grid, and there is a template that you will use to provide that information. A reflection paper, which is due week 2. The family therapy theory grid, I believe, is posted 5 out of the 7 times. Let's take a look. Weeks 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. So it is 5 of the 7 weeks that you have to post that family therapy theory grid. And then you have your family of origin paper and genogram, due weeks 3 and 4. And then you have your final integrative paper, which is due week 6 and is 25% of your grade. And each week I will go over those specific assignments and what's due. There's a rubric for all of these, the points that are given for each component of the rubric. So please pay attention to the rubrics because they are there. If you're going to print out anything, please print out the course schedule so you know what's due when, what the readings are that are assigned. And here are your references. Some of these are classics. So generally, I would say to you that in papers you want to have references that are no more than 10 years old, but as you can see in the reference section of the syllabus, many of these articles are much older than 10 years old. So that is an overview of the course requirements. I will be posting, you can take a look at the welcome video at any time if you have any confusion about the class or any kind of initial questions. And a little bit more about myself. I don't think I mentioned that my practice has been primarily in the field of working with older adults, although I did work for a year in a comprehensive high school in Philadelphia. I lived in Philadelphia for 36 years, even though I'm from Western Pennsylvania, which is where I'm stationed right now. So again, any questions, please get to me as quickly as possible. I look forward to working with you over this semester. I know it will be a great semester. Please don't hesitate to ask questions because your question will help others in the class as well. And later today or tomorrow, I will also be posting a video that covers the content for the first week in this class, and I will be doing an overview video every week. So please take a look at those videos. Thank you for listening, and I am sure we will enjoy working with each other over this semester.